All right, welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're going to get you going. Justin Waller is on the way, and we look forward to a great show. And if you missed the first part, sorry about your luck, but I'm not going to play these games with YouTube. All right, we're going to get going here, and the word of the day today is going to be Overreaction Mondays. We get you set here on YouTube because the simple fact of the matter is everyone's freaking out about their fantasy team. Everybody's freaking about everything at this point, and it is absolutely craziness going on in the world of sports. Okay, we will be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Let's get the damn thing rolling, and screw you, YouTube. How about that? You bunch of jerk-offs.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
This is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Francisco Lindor whistled at the Yankees, and he sent the ball whistling over the wall 3 times in the midst of the Mets' miserable season. Lindor kept their playoff season hopes alive against the crosstown rivals. He nearly set off a brawl when he taunted his opponents after his second home run. While rounding the bases on his second homer, Lindor put a hand in front of his mouth, turned to shortstop Gleyber Torres, and made a taunting motion as if to whistle while saying, "Keep on whistling." That was in reference to the Mets' belief that Taijuan Walker was tipping his pitches on Saturday, and the Yankees were whistling to signal their batters. Lindor said after the game, quote, "I can't accuse them of whistling for the signs because I'm not 100%, but I know what I heard, and I felt like there was something out of the ordinary going on there." He continued to go on and say, "It's one thing when you're in the batter's box and you're seeing something. It's another thing when you're getting help from the entire team." The irony is rich considering the New York Yankees were one of the main whistleblowers that were complaining about the Houston Astros cheating of the 2017 World Series and ALCS. The situation escalated when Giancarlo Stanton tied the score with the 2-run homer in the 7th off left-hander Brad Hand. Stanton slowed to a walk, rounding second in his trot, turned his back towards third, and started shouting at the shortstop, Lindor. Both Lindor and second baseman Javi Baez waved at Stanton to come at them. And then, the one thing that nobody wants to see, Rougned Odor jumped the fence to come at the Mets. Everything calmed down, no blows were thrown, and Yankees manager Aaron Boone said after the game, "Boys will be boys." Real quick, Major League Baseball standings look like this with just 3 weeks left to play. The Tampa Bay Rays are running away with the AL East, 9 games up on the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and 10 on the Yankees. The Central is done. White Sox over the Indians by 12, and the Astros are 6.5 up on both the Mariners and the A's, who are in a dead-footed tie, 6.5 games out. In the NL East, the Braves expand their lead back to 4.5 games over the Phillies over the weekend. Mets are 5 out, and in the Central, it's over. Brewers, 14 games up on the Reds, 15 on the Cardinals, and in the NL West, the Giants continue to cling on to a 2.5 game lead as both the Dodgers and the Giants continue to roll, and the Padres continue to plummet. For the wild card, right now as it stands, if it ended today, Toronto would host Boston. They are tied atop the American League East. The Blue Jays and Red Sox are fighting off the New York Yankees, just 1 game behind, with the Mariners and A's hot on their tail, 3 games back. And in the National League, it's as simple as this. The Padres and the Reds are tied for the last wild card, with the Cardinals just 1 game back, 2.5 from Philly, 3 games back are the Mets. The Dodgers easily have a commanding 16-game lead for the first wild card slot. And yesterday in the National Football League, the Cardinals down the Titans 38-13. Kyler Murray 4 touchdowns. Seahawks pound the Colts 28-16 in Indy. Russell Wilson 4 touchdowns. Jaguars get clobbered by the Texans 37-21. Trevor Lawrence did have 332 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Dolphins hold on and beat the Patriots 17-16. Damian Harris 100 yards, but he fumbled the ball away as the Patriots were about to salt away the victory in Foxborough. Eagles trashed the Falcons 32-6. Jalen Hurts 3 touchdowns. Steelers upset the Bills 23-16. Josh Allen struggled, just 270 yards and 1 touchdown pass. Bengals 27-24 winners in overtime against the lowly Vikings. Cousins had 351 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Mixon was the man with 127 and a score. 49ers 41-33. They hold on after blowing a huge lead against Detroit in the Motor City. Jared Goff, 338 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Chargers, 20-16 winner. Ryan Fitzpatrick got knocked out of the game. Justin Herbert held on with a 337-yard performance. And the Jets lose to the Panthers, 19-14. The Sam Darnold Bowl goes like this. Darnold, 279 yards and a touchdown. A long touchdown reception to Robbie Anderson. Chiefs come roaring back to stun the Browns after the Browns dominated the game for 3 quarters. Chiefs 33-29 winners. And to wrap it up, Broncos kill the Giants 27-13, and the Rams pound the Bears on Sunday Night Football 34-14. Matthew Stafford 321 and 3 touchdown scores. Tonight you got Monday Night Football. It's the Ravens, it's the Raiders. Baltimore is a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
If you can't find a TV remote, yell at everyone until they leave the room, and then find it in your pocket. Be a man.
The quarterback-center relationship, you get close real quick, especially when O'Hara, we go out for a jog through, and he thought it'd be a good idea to cut a hole in his shorts. So I put my hands under center, and I get a nice surprise. But I can't say anything because I know Coughlin's going to rip them and, like, make a big deal if he finds out. So I just have to, I kind of go to shotgun, and, Coughlin's like, why are we running power? Why are we running power out of shotgun?
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
CBS Sports
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything. It's always on my radio. Stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. They told us we would have one less preseason game. One more regular season game. I think there's a lot of fan bases agree with me. That's not what we saw yesterday.
I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I forgot what I was going to say. I really like your, I don't know what the hell you call it, but the TV thing, Roger. That's actually pretty damn cool. No, I know what I was going to say. Screw you, Mike Norvell. That's what I was going to say. Bring on Dion. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players hit the field, and every man feels like a boy, and every wife could kill. He's been buying beer since August, running hot and running cold, and 30 friends are on alert, that's all the dental hold. 'Cause he's the...
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Mac. A little bit technically frustrated this morning. So if our buddy Trosh is listening, can you please tell me how in the world you found that blurred background? Because I liked that yesterday on the handicapper show. So make sure you guys are tuning in 8 to 10 Eastern. Is that correct?
10 to noon Eastern.
10 to noon, my bad.
9 to 11 Central Time. When you go onto your app, it should be one of the default filters. I believe it's the very first one. Because I see it not only on my phone, but I also see it on my desktop when I'm doing other videos. You're talking about the blurred background?
Yeah, I kept looking, and that's how we wound up with a TV, because I was like, I kind of like that. But
I actually do like that a lot, man. I
lost track of time, and you're like, hey, you going to come on today? And I was like, whoop, yep, forget the background. Here we go. It's TV.
I wasn't sure if you were, under a bridge somewhere, cussing the government after that game yesterday, man. Dude, the entire day. It's not just the Titans, and it's not just your fan bases. The fantasy, I call that bizarro fantasy day, because guys that are going to have really good seasons, they were terrible, and teams that should have pretty good seasons were terrible. It's exactly what you said. If you're not going to play your starters in any preseason games, we're going to have junk the first week or two of the season. We saw it last year, but I think it was worse this year, don't you?
Oh, that was absolutely horrendous. I mean, the only win that was guaranteed that I saw yesterday was the Niners didn't blow it to the Lions. But I mean, that almost didn't happen.
They tried. We were
the
talking.
Lions didn't bite them kneecaps hard enough, or they would have pulled it off.
We went 2-2 on our spreads yesterday, and started off pretty good, 2-0. Bobby took the Chargers +2. Of course, I still think if Ryan Fitzpatrick is healthy, Washington finds a way to win that game. But hey, it is what it is. And then I had the Jags Houston over. I just took the total over was like 46. I was like, these two defenses are terrible. I don't care how bad the offense are. There's no way they're going to stop each other. So that was pretty good. Trosh did not hit the Kansas City Cleveland one. Didn't even come close. I mean, Cleveland dominated that game, and then they just choked it away at the end. And then Sean, I'm trying to remember what game he had, but it was terrible. Oh, he took the Giants to beat the Broncos. And look, pregame, you could have talked me into that, but the Giants looked terrible yesterday. I mean, you know how I know the Giants offense is putrid? I'm watching the red zone. I'm about 45 minutes into the second games, the 4:00 kickoffs. I'm like, aren't the Giants playing? Why haven't I seen them? They had not been on the red zone the entire damn time. Finally, like the Broncos get down like around halftime around there, and they show them. I was like, oh my God, this game's 7-3. This is it's going to be a long, long year in New York. The difference between the Jets fan base and the Giants fan base is I think the Jets have hope. The Giants fan base, man, I think they got to turn around and play Thursday night against Washington. Now they get helped out by the fact that Fitzpatrick, I wouldn't think is going to play, but man, the Giants look bad.
They looked horrible. But again, I just, I'm not doom and gloom. I just think this is a result of no practice. I mean, you can't tell me that the Saints are that much better than the Green Bay Packers. I'm not buying that they're 35 points better and Jameis Winston can just dominate on Aaron Rodgers. I'm not buying that has anything to do other than Jameis was battling for a position for the past 3 weeks in football games, and Aaron Rodgers was interviewing, trying to figure out where he's going to work next or what he's going to do next or playing Jeopardy. I have no idea, but it wasn't practicing football. And he got me 0.14 points in my fantasy league. I don't even think he got a total point. It might be 141 adjusted this morning, but
I know where he wasn't. He wasn't at the barber. He's the opposite of Samson, dude. He's cut that hair, man. Some people play better with the long hair. He does not. He looks terrible. He took his helmet off yesterday. I was like, I haven't seen him since January, essentially, because I didn't watch the Jeopardy thing. He looks like 25 years older than he did. Dude, you didn't cut. You cut that hair. I would think his Hollywood girlfriend or wife. I think they got married. I would think that she'd be on that right now. I saw a preview. Rodgers and one of the ladies on, I guess it was Aaron Andrews, but it might have been someone else. And they were leading it up to to kickoff yesterday, saying they're going to have some kind of interview with him. And all I could look at is his hair in a damn. I mean, does he have a Brett in his hair? What is going on with Aaron Rodgers?
I have not seen this look yet.
Jameis, by the way, that's the steal of the fantasy draft for me so far. But still, as excited you can get about Jameis, y'all. 5 touchdowns, that's great. He still only threw for 148 yards.
But they were to the right team.
Well, yeah, true. But he did have one interception that was negated because of the penalties. So he kind of dodged a bullet there. But I will say that interception was a miraculous interception. It wasn't one of those right into the linebacker's gut or anything like that. It was one of those circus catches in the end zone. But I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers right now, dude. He's got like the freaking what the hell was that guy's name? Seagal. He's got the Seagal look where his hair pulled back and
well, Steven Seagal could quarterback better in the NFL yesterday than Aaron Rodgers could.
Oof, he looked terrible.
He could at least do quarterback sneaks. I have no doubt Steven Seagal could drop a linebacker.
He looks like that dude that works at a head shop in his early 50s that's trying to convince you that to this day, like, is still trying to convince you we never should have been in Vietnam. And you're like, dude, can I just get what I came here to buy? It's like, do you have to try to sell me on your philosophy as well as he's got that look, man. He's like that dude. The moon landing never happened. Let me show you why. And he's got like a whole, he pulls down the projector screen. Oh man, it's Tuesday afternoon. I really just want to get a sub, man. All right. So what was the best thing you saw all weekend? Like the most entertaining thing you saw all weekend?
BYU and Stanford pulling the upset. I mean, Pac-12 football was the best thing I saw all weekend. I was really impressed. Aside from that, if I get into more of what we talk about weekly, Arkansas is legit. I like Arkansas. Defense looked good. Sam Pittman's got him an offensive line. Them boys were pounding holes, and you could have drove buses through them. It didn't matter the running back that they put in the backfield. I think Mike could be the number 2 team in the West, number 3. I think this season ends if they keep rolling. I think Arkansas is going to be 2nd or 3rd best team in the West.
I wish I could have seen that game. If I could go back in time, I would watch that game and not watch Florida State's terrible debacle of Jacksonville. You blow a 10-point lead at home with 5 minutes left, and then the coach speak comes out and says, "Oh, this is unacceptable." Yeah, we know that. We know that, turd. We know it's unacceptable to lose at home to Jacksonville State. As bad as they looked, they were still dominating the game, and then they just let it go. And then, not to mention, why the hell were they not in prevent at the final gun? There were 6 seconds left in the game, and they're not in prevent. So don't tell me it's unacceptable. What's unacceptable is the fact that our head coach cannot look at the field and watch our quarterbacks play and figure out that Milton is by far the guy that needs to be on there and quit sharing time. That's the only reason why the game was close enough for Jacksonville State to pull off what they pulled off. Now, I know everyone's going to want to point at Helton dropping that pass, and I get that. It was an easy touchdown. He should have had it at the beginning of the game, and the game might turn a lot differently. But the point is, Milton was looking good, and then the next couple of series, you get Travis in there, and he is terrible. And I'm telling you right now, when they go to play Wake Forest this Saturday, I'm not a fair weather fan, but if I turn on the TV and Jordan Travis is starting, I'm muting the damn game and I'll put something else on my main screen. I'm not going to sit there and watch Jordan Travis pretend like he can play a sport that he cannot play. He is a wildcat quarterback at best. He is not a starting quarterback in any kind of level of as upset as you may be with Tennessee losing, Justin. At least Milton looked like that he belonged behind center.
Well, and honestly, he got replaced. Heupel pulled the trigger and went to Hooker. Hooker finished up and led out the rest of that. And they had 2 opportunities. I'm honestly not upset. Let me rephrase that. I'd be lying if I say I wasn't upset they lost the game, because I'm always pissed when we lose a game. But I felt good about it. I haven't seen 2 weeks in a row of 30-plus points out of a Tennessee offense, and I feel like a decade. I actually saw a quarterback change that was positive and went towards the right direction. And in the 4th quarter, they had a 4th and inches inside the red zone that they should have scored points there, or at least gotten the touchdown. I mean, you've got to at home move the ball 1 foot. I mean, that's unacceptable. You can't get that in your stadium in the fourth quarter with less than 2 minutes to go. And then they have an untimely interception at the end of the game. So they had 2 opportunities to tie the ball game. Now, whether that translates to a win or loss if you go to overtime or not, but they were there at the end of the game and had an opportunity to get something that me and you've talked about is a good Pittsburgh team. I don't know that they get the love across the ACC, but I think by the end of this year that we're going to see that team's a little bit better than what they come in preseason, and people are going to take notice, and this loss isn't going to look as bad. I think, hey, it's an L. It's nothing to be proud of, but hey, it's better than Derek Dooley's moral victories we used to have.
This is the Pittsburgh team I thought they were going to be last year. They've obviously got almost the same team coming back because they didn't lose a lot to the draft, but this is what I thought they would be. I think Kenny Pickett is a solid quarterback. He'll be an interesting NFL prospect. He's not a guy that's going to turn your franchise upside down, but I think someone will take a chance on him to at least be a guy that they could groom. And remember something, y'all. One of the things that is most impressive about Pickett, he's very close with Peyton Manning. It came about something about it. There was some kind of football camp that he went to, and that was why Kenny Pickett came back to school, was because Kenny Pickett said that he talked to Peyton, and Peyton kind of asked around in his circle of friends, of people that actually run the show, and asked them, like, where do you think this kid's going to get drafted? And they didn't like the answer, so he came back to play what is now a 6th year in Pittsburgh. So I think Pittsburgh is going to be a pain in the ass to anyone that plays them. I don't know if they'll be able to sustain enough wins to get to the ACC championship game, because they always seem like that they drop a game or two they're not supposed to lose, but they're going to be a pain. There's no doubt about it, because to me, that division's wide open. You've got North Carolina, you've got Miami, you've got Virginia Tech, but I think Pittsburgh could be a thorn in anybody's side over there. So I see someone putting up on Twitter who's going to get the first pick in next year's draft, and there's your usual suspect: Falcons, Jags, Giants, and then the fourth one is Packers.
Well, I mean, it would have been Titans until the Packers played. So,
I mean,
they're gonna draft another quarterback.
Oh my God! I mean, you knew it was really disappointing me. I didn't get a chance to see much of the game because I'm watching Red Zone. I keep waiting for them to pop up, and the only time I see them pop up is when the Cardinals are about to score. I was like, dude, I feel like I saw like 3 snaps of the Titans yesterday, and I think I am going to get that. Well, you've told me about it. I almost pulled the trigger the other day and I got sidetracked, but I think I am going to get that
Game
Pass. But the other day when I went to do it, the website was screwing up and you couldn't get to the next page that they were asking you to get to. So, which is par for the course, because if anyone saw my video that I did on the worst fantasy or the ranking the top fantasy websites, apps, what have you, and I had the NFL fantasy app in dead last place. Guess what happens moments after kickoff yesterday? The damn thing crashes. It's trending on Twitter. Nobody could get into their account on their phone. Now you go into the desktop, but if you try to put in your account and your password, some weird cryptic, war games type of thing pops up, and everyone's like, I don't know what I thought I had the wrong password, and I was like, I'm not touching this again. I'm just going to go on the website. But it kicked you out. I was like, this is just asinine. But anyways, when I went to go get that Game Pass, the website didn't work. I should have known this was coming. And I do remember because a couple people commented yesterday that this has happened now 3 years in a row, that the NFL fantasy app crashed on the very first opening moments of the NFL season. How embarrassing is that, Justin?
Well, they put all their technology into their video broadcast for the anthem and tribute yesterday. Probably should have reallocated some of that to the fantasy.
I don't even know who runs their website, but I'm telling you right now. So I'm in one league that I have to use it because the idiot that's the commissioner, he decided, and it's my wife's work league, and it is what it is, and I'm trying to fight to get through it. But this guy, I mean, he said his excuse to my wife when she said something to him was, well, all my other leagues are in that one. Well, what the hell are you doing on that app to begin with? It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Yahoo is still the best pound for pound, but I'll tell you one that I'm starting to like more and more is the Sleeper Bot app. There's another one out there that I haven't tried yet, so I can't speak to the Flea Flicker one, but people talk highly of the Flea Flicker one. I think I almost want to do like a free league just to test it out for possibly next year. One of the coolest things about the Sleeper app is we didn't get a chance to use it this year, but check this out, Justin. You can set it up where you can do a long draft. I mean, you can have like 24 hours in between picks. You can start the draft in like late July, early August, and everyone has like 24 hours in between picks, up to 24 hours. You don't have to wait 24 hours, but so you can start the draft and people can be at work, come home, see, oh, it's my pick. I picked this guy. So we almost did that makeshift dynasty one that we did at the last minute. We almost did it that way. And I was like, man, we'll never get through it. There's going to be some jerk off that's going to be taking the entire 24 hours. We're just never going to, I'll be spending more time texting people going, would you please pick? We're like moments before kickoff. So, but the best thing I saw all weekend, unbelievably, all the football that went on. That Mets-Yankees game last night was phenomenal. If y'all missed this, the Mets and Yankees about got into a brouhaha because Saturday night, Taijuan Walker, was tipping his pitches, and the Yankees were letting the guy at the plate know what was being tipped. Now, I don't know the whole breakdown of it because I was watching college football. So I caught this story in the middle of the game last night, but essentially they knew what a curveball or fastball was coming. And someone from the dugout, I believe it was Glaber Torres. I think they said it was one of the person, but I kept missing the name. It wasn't one of the stars. They were whistling. I don't know what kind of whistle they were doing, but I would think it was just like a sharp whistle. And the Mets got pissed about it. And when Lindor mouthed off about it after the game, this is Saturday night, he basically said, and look, I think he's got a point. And normally I would never take Francisco's Lindor side, much less the Mets side. But he said, it's one thing for you to pick up on it. It's another thing for you to be signaling it from the dugout. Right. And remember, this is this same Yankee organization and pretty much the same cast that they were complaining about banging trash cans, but yet it's okay to whistle from the dugout, right? So what?
But they're not using electronic technology, to our knowledge, to use it. So,
but I
would say don't tip your pitches, and they couldn't do from the dugout.
And I get that, and what Lindor is saying, I think he's got a point. Is it's one thing to be tipping it, and if you picked up on it, but let the guy at the plate know. But don't be banging trash cans or whistling and letting them. In other words, tell the guy going up to the plate, hey, when he does this, you need to do that, right? You need to be looking for that. So that was
Mets Yankees. Yeah, that's out the window. I mean,
he's
the new kid.
I find it ironic that the same Yankee players were whining about trash cans and now they're whistling. So it's kind of the same thing. But here's the funny part that I know you're going to love about this. So Lindor hits a home run the second inning, his second home run. He ends up hitting a total of 3, by the way. He does something around the bases, flexing or whatever for the Yankees, and tells him basically to shut up, stop whistling, right? Then I think it was the 7th inning, Mike Stanton or Giancarlo Stanton hits a mammoth shot, like something that like brought rain, right? And he literally stops in between second and third base, turns around to a walk, and is talking smack to Lindor and basically saying we weren't all the ones. It wasn't all of us over there whistling. So quit acting like it was us is basically what they're saying that he was saying. So both benches clear. Now there's no punches thrown, but you're going to love this because I know you don't like Baez. So Baez is in the middle of this. Baez is playing second base, right? Baez is talking smack. Guess who's the first guy to jump the railing ready to brawl for the New York Yankees? I think a lot of people forget he plays for the Yankees now. Rognit Odor.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about it.
Yeah, he comes over. I'm like, someone better keep an eye on that dude. That's all I'm saying. And first of all, Mets fans, if you're listening, I know you love your team. You have no shot in hell of the Mets winning that fight against that roster. Put Rognit Odor aside, okay? He got the good pop in, right? But he really didn't do much damage because even as hard as he hit Bautista didn't fall. He stood his ground. But, dude, that is like you've got like defensive ends coming your way. The only thing that was going to save you was that Aaron Judge left the game early because of dizziness or something. They're not sure if he's going to be able to play today or not. So I don't think he would have been involved in it. But, dude, you're talking about Giancarlo Stanton. Remember when we ran down that roster?
Yeah, we did a segment one day on which Yankee you would fight, and none of them because they all outsize every one of us.
I think they've gotten bigger. Because I think we did it 3 or 4 years ago, and Luke Voigt wasn't there. I mean, that guy just looks like he crushes steroids in his Cheerios. And I mean, all these guys are coming on like, dude, this is not good. And then I think of the Mets, and you're gonna have Lindor and Baez. They're gonna be out there by themselves. Pete Alonso
Alonso looks like he could probably hold his own, but I mean, aside from him, I don't know much in the size category that's going to rank up there with.
I can't think of anybody.
Was it 6'5", 6'3"? I think 6'3" was the shortest we found.
I remember us going through the tail of the tape for the Yankees, and we were like, my God, they're all like almost 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. Like guys that don't even look that big. Luckily, Betanzas isn't with them anymore, but man, my God. Anyways, that was the best thing I saw all weekend. It had nothing to do with football because I was like, if it actually would have brought into a brawl, I was going to text you, but it was pretty late at night. So I was like, I'm not going to text him. But if this thing gets in a brawl, I'm going to text him tomorrow morning to pull up that video. But it just got it. But it was like, this is 9/11 weekend. We're supposed to be celebrating New York. And you just see both. They were all there. Well, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. Quit whistling. I can whistle if I want to. No, you can't. It was like, I think, stop laughing. Oh, man. You got any sorry dudes for this overreaction Monday?
Yeah, it's Bama Florida week. Sorry, dude. That goes out to all the Gator fans.
Oh my God. So they think that they've got their quarterback of the future with Richardson. Did you catch any of that game?
I did not.
All right. He looked pretty good. The problem is he pulled up Lane with the hamstring towards the end of the game. Now, a lot of people think it's just precautionary. He's going to be fine. Okay, whatever. But Mullen is saying after the game that it's still Emory Jones as a starting quarterback. And that dude has looked terrible. So it's going to be a fun week all week leading up to that Bama Florida game because the Florida fan base is convinced that Richardson is their guy. In fact, Bobby yesterday came on. He's a big Gator fan, and he's been pounding his drum for like 2 or 3 weeks saying that he wants to see what Richardson can do, that Emory Jones is not the answer, I haven't really heard Tony make a definitive, but I guarantee you by Friday, he's going to be like, we got to use Richardson. If Emory Jones starts that game and plays the majority of that game, that tells me that Mullen is just trying not to get blown out. So in other words, they're just going to run like a really vanilla running game, right? To try to shorten the game. But if they want a chance to win, Richardson's a lot closer to what we saw from Trask than what Jones even comes close to being. My sorry dude would be for like my entire football weekend. Dude, Florida State sucked. The Titans sucked. Even watch the Jaguars. There was nothing. And they're already, you're going to love this, Justin. They're already talking about how Urban Meyer is losing his cool, is screaming at assistants. This is before the game yesterday. This is for the loss because he's not used to losing, not even preseason games.
This is the big conundrum we all asked, was this going to work? You used to coaching young men that you have control over. Now you have grown men, professional athletes. Does that same style and tactics carry over?
Well, also, it's not just that. To me, it's because he's not used to being challenged every single game. He's also not used to having the lesser of the rosters. Even when he was at Utah, he had built a decent Utah program there that wasn't playing a very daunting schedule, right? And so, but let's be honest, when we went to Florida, we went to Ohio State, we'll say if you play a 12-game regular game season, 10, 11 of those games, he almost always had the better roster on the field. Now he's actually going to have to coach and actually, it's not just teaching them how to play. He's going to have to outmaneuver the other coach. And it sounds like to me that there's a fake heart attack coming around week 10. It's like, if they're already, they said that all the coaches are already on edge. They hadn't even played a game. They hadn't even got blown out by who we thought was the worst team in football yesterday. What's your Charles Chips reference today? Did that come? Is that job security for me? Did that come from somewhere I know? No, I have it. My dad used to bring these in when I was a kid. Yep. He filled with chips, and then one of them ended up being, this is really random, but when I was a kid and kids would play with Star Wars action figures and all those kind of things. I did too, but I played football with them and baseball with them. Like I was laying on the floor and I wasn't, defending the Death Star. I was trying to construct a 4-3 defense with a linebacker blitz. And this is what I always carried my dudes in, right? I just load them in there and I go out there on the, as a little kid, be playing on the floor. So I always remember this, and I don't remember where I got this. I got this in the last few years. You can get them, where my customer we service, you can get those there. They're all around. I'm thinking maybe that's where I got it. We were somewhere, and it might be there. It might have been there. And I went in there, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the exact same tin." Like, did you know back in the day those used to be a home delivery? That's why I brought that up. Used to be you'd leave that can out and like milk and stuff. It was actually a chip company that would deliver like a Schwann's food service or something. I did not know that. And then they came back, and we've had them for a couple of years now. Let me put it that way. They've been back out. But my dad would have came across that in the late 70s when he gave it to me. I think, but I don't remember. I think at the time when he bought it, they were selling it at the seafood joint here in Jacksonville. It was like a fish and chips type place. Mm-hmm. But I might be confusing that with whatever the hell. But he either got it at a seafood joint or a pizza joint or whatever. And when the chips were done, he gave me that, and then I ended up turning into throwing all my players in there. Everyone's always like, "Why is that stormtrooper playing tight end?" Because he's out of position. Okay, he's actually supposed to be a left tackle, and he's 5 yards down the field. Don't worry, a flag's coming. My grandfather, high altitude training. Yeah, my grandfather just look at me and go, "My God, you are so not normal." What's your walk off for the day, sir? We kind of touched on it. Man, I hope I see a lot of practice this week. There better be some practice. Where's Allen Iverson when we need him? Practice. Man, I just want to hit the reset button, to be honest with you. Like that game, I thought I had that, but maybe I've deleted it. I don't know. Oh, well. I was about to play it for you, and I thought I had it. If we don't get practice, we're going to start talking about playoffs. Right, exactly. How about the Texans leading the AFC South? All by their lonesome. Pathetic. All right, brother. We'll see you tomorrow. See you, bud. Be back in a flash on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Doug's on his way, and we're going to overreact to the world of the National Football League and, of course, his terrible fantasy baseball team. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
This time I'm going to kick that football clear to the moon.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. We're covering the NHL all the way through the Stanley Cup playoffs. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
6th round. TJ Hoshimazode. Yes, lock it up.
Who? What?
TJ, how's the vanilla? All right. TJ, who's your mama?
You mean TJ Hushmanzada from the Bengals?
Put him on the board. Hoshimazole. Got it. Championship.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's fantasy football time.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert. A 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year long in your DFS payouts. We're only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long.
Good morning.
Wake up, y'all. It's time to get up with the Armchair Quarterbacks. The world of sports is changing every morning. So wake up, y'all, with the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show.
Get up out of bed.
I should have gone to law school or high school.
Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
They're bringing me back.
What about your fact-checking job?
Oh, here's the fact. I'm the Wiz.
Good morning. Monday morning coming to you live here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Make sure to like and subscribe today. That's how you know we're going. We have so much content going on here in the fall. It's a little ridiculous. Programming note at the top of the hour, 10 a.m. Eastern. Braves Country today will be coming your way. We will be talking the AL East as well as Timus Wooten will be joining me. So that is back today. And I think for all intents and purposes, as I look at the schedule and whatnot, I think for all intents and purposes, you can expect it on Mondays when we do it with Timus, and we're going to do it on Fridays to set you for the weekend. And that's going on for the rest of the season. And when we get to the playoffs, we'll figure it out. But that's what's going on there. Mr. Doug, how the hell are you?
Okay. I'm still a little bit sore from yesterday.
Is that because the butt kicking my fantasy baseball team put on yours?
No, it could be.
Oh my God! You know what does make me mad? I should have. I'm assuming I lost. I had to have lost. Yeah, the Armchair Reggae Auction League against Sean. Yeah. Dude, this is a team that was averaging 500-600 points, just blindly, right? I couldn't even last week. What did I crack? 393. In most, Sean only got 409, by the way. In pretty much any other week, I would have beaten him by about 200 points. But I'm having this bad luck, or whatever you want to call it, where it happened to me in the first week of the other one. The YouTube, what did we call that league? The YouTube Snake League.
Yeah.
Where I dominated, and then we hit the playoffs, and it was an absolute train wreck. So anyways, I am in the Dynasty Championship, but I tried like hell. I mean, even though I beat you pretty handily, I didn't score 500. I've easily scored 500 almost every week. I'm like, this is just, all my guys, it's like they've run out of gas. They've just totally run out of gas. So I'm going to try to limp my way to the finish line, but I'm not liking my chances against Will this week because I just feel like this has been par for the course. He scored 584 last week. I scored 482. I'm just fortunate I didn't play him.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Hey, look, my team's been out of gas all season, so I know how you feel. I just got the mystery of the whole season out of the way. That was bad. That was, like I said, this entire baseball season has been bad for me. This is, like I said, since you introduced me to fantasy sports, this is probably the worst.
Ruined your life.
Huh?
I said it's ruined your life.
And it ruined my life and ruined my life. So, but this season was just my worst. So,
yeah, it's you pissed me off too when you streamed Giolito. I'm like, he's not playing until next week because I was planning on grabbing him. I saw that he was coming back on Tuesday. I was like, man, I'm not going to waste that pickup until I know I've got Doug beat. And then you pick him. I was like, you're not even trying to win. Like you're done. You're like, you're over here just picking up dudes on Tuesday when you're down by 100 points. I was like, all right, well, whatever. At least Will didn't get him because he's not a guy I'm going to keep. So I had him originally. I dropped him because of it was because of an IL issue. I had too many guys on the IL, and this team somehow has gotten to the championship with Mike Trout, Winker, and Acuna all on the IL. And that's not even counting my pitching. My
I was going to say, not counting Soroka,
Flaherty, and Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And what it came down to a few weeks ago, I had to make a decision. Who are you more likely to keep next year, Syndergaard or Giolito? I was like, man, I think I'd rather keep Syndergaard, to be honest with you. I don't think I would keep Giolito. He was wildly disappointing this past year, and I just, I'm good. I got too many other guys that I'll keep, and I just good luck to you with him. But I've had my cup of coffee with him, and I don't know.
Well, I was looking.
Maybe it's just a bad year, but
yeah. Well, I was looking overall for his stats. I wouldn't have touched him, but his stats up to a certain point till his IL problems he was actually pretty decent. So I'm like, and I'm always looking, especially the way I got this team originally. I'm always looking for somebody pitching wise who can actually put up some decent points. That's the only reason
I mean, not to trash your team, but he's not a guy that's going to be on my roster next year. So I get why you're keeping him. But it really came down to, do you want to keep Syndergaard or do you want to keep Giolito? And I'm like, I would rather take a chance that Syndergaard can reboot himself. But anyways, fantasy football is what we're really here to talk about because the season is going, and what a terrible, terrible day yesterday. Did you do well? Because I did terribly. I mean, yesterday was like the bizarro of all fantasy football, NFL football days. I mean, dude, I'm going to lose. Well, no, I guess I am. How am I going to win that game? I don't even know. I've got 73 points, but the guy I'm playing's got 82. So, because I've got Jackson and Waller tonight. Okay, so I should win that game.
Right.
But most of my leagues, I'm going to lose week 1, and I'm not even worried about it. I was like, you know what? This has been so bizarre. I can't even pretend like I give a crap, because when you have guys like, for instance, Derrick Henry, what did he have? 58 yards rushing. Dalvin Cook was decent yesterday, but he wasn't your typical Dalvin Cook. Russell Wilson did well for me, but let's do the fantasy fallout. Who are your studs this week?
Studs, you have to start off with the Thursday game. I gotta shout out to both of them. Brady and Dak Prescott putting on a quarterback clinic Thursday night. They're two of my studs. I mean, they're both 50 plus fantasy points. They looked fantastic Thursday. So I can't go without mentioning them first and foremost.
My first one is obviously Jameis Winston, 5 freaking touchdown passes. Now, he only had 148 yards passing, but 5 touchdown passes. Holy crap, who saw that coming? I've got him in a lot of leagues where I waited. Once I knew that Jameis was the starter in New Orleans, I kind of started earmarking him in a lot of leagues, because I was like, unless other quarterbacks fall to me, this is what he does. He's a very good fantasy quarterback to have. Not necessarily going to lead the Saints to the playoffs, but he's going to get, the guy still has one of the strongest arms in the National Football League. Whether you love him or hate him, he still has one of the strongest arms in the National Football League. And to me, yesterday, he looked more elusive and lighter of foot. He had a couple of scrambles that I'm telling you right now, a few years ago, he would have gotten caught from behind. So I don't know if he's been doing some kind of training, but he looked quicker to me. And the Saints in general, I mean, they pound the Packers. The Packers looked like they were sleepwalking the entire day. My next stub will obviously be Kyler Murray, 4 touchdown passes, and Marvin Jones Jr. in a full PPR league. Dude had 5 catches and a touchdown. He's going to be the reason why I'm going to lose the Cadillac League because of his performance, because of they've got such screwy rules. But long story short, he almost scored as much as what the hell's his name? Russell Wilson in that league. So that tells you how screwy the rules are.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts and Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, 5 catches for 132 yards. I don't believe he scored a touchdown, but that's a big game. And I've got a lot of shares of him. So I was glad to see him get off to a good start. I didn't start him, but look, the first I'd say 2-3 weeks, I'm feeling out my roster. I'm trying to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then I start worrying about matchups. When I first begin, I pretty much just whoever I drafted higher, that's probably who's going to go in.
Yeah.
But this not playing of the preseason, this had an enormous effect on what we saw yesterday around the entire National Football League.
Exactly. Because if you look at when we do our drafts and stuff, and you look at the top 10 and quarterbacks, running backs, look at them yesterday. If you look at your top 10, barely any of them played on the level that we expect them to play. And they looked tired. They looked rusty. So I have to completely agree with you on that one. I mean, just everybody top. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. He just got shut down on Thursday. It was like he wasn't even there. And then you look at even though they
funny is Ezekiel Elliott's terrible performance looks better than some of the other guys yesterday. I thought he had a dumpster fire performance. You see some of these other guys, you're like, my God.
Yeah. And it's all, they look terrible. They look rusty. There were a handful that looked, on par, but overall, it was hideous. It was just bizarro. Because of my next stud, I never thought that I would ever say he had a great game, and because we both hate him, and that's Joe Mixon had one of the best games I've ever seen him have.
Oh, I got him a couple leagues. I was expecting a big game out of him. In fact, I took him in DFS. I hate it. See, people misunderstand this, and Steven does it all the time. But I've noticed with Steven, he only talks; he never listens. So I have to take when he reacts to me with a grain of salt. I hated Joe Mixon for how high he was being drafted the previous 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
People were drafting him like in the first round. They were going like number 7, number 8 overall last year. And the year before that, he was in that neighborhood. And I was like, he's not that player, but I'll take him in the top 25. And I have no issue with him. Sure. And so when he fell to the top 25, like he did a lot this year, because people were so disappointed in him, I felt like he was actually a steal. Same with Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett had a huge day yesterday, because the reason why I don't draft Tyler Lockett high, and I've got him in a few leagues, is because when they were drafting him high the past few years, where he was like one of the top receivers, what he did yesterday, they think they're projecting him to do that like every week, and he's not going to. There's going to be weeks where he's going to disappear. And so that's why I wouldn't draft him in the first and second round, but the third round, the fourth round, I'm more than okay with. Tyler Lockett was going 5th, 6th round, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
But the first round or second round, we'll say a second round receiver, dude, that guy's got to be like a Devontae Adams, who had a terrible day yesterday, but we know he's going to go to the post every week. Stephon Diggs is not going to have a bad game every week, right? You got to have a guy, if you're going to draft that guy in the top 20, top 25, he has got to be automatic double digits, and most weeks get you around 20. And if he's not, then why are you drafting him that high?
Yeah.
So that's what duds do you have?
Oh, duds. Well, talk about top people. I got to go ahead and say Saquon Barkley was horrible yesterday as well. To go along with that theme of top 10 people being drafted, he looked average. I mean, I'm glad he looked better. I'm glad it seems like he's over his injury, but he still looked very average. So I put him on my dud list. I think he was only good for 7 fantasy points yesterday, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him average yesterday. He was terrible. Now, in the leagues that I had him, I didn't start him because this is what I expected of him. Let me see what he had. He had 10 rushes for 26 yards. I don't believe he had any reception, but I can't see that part of it. But 10 rushes for 26 yards. That is putrid.
Yes.
But this is what I expect. I wouldn't start Saquon Barkley this Thursday night either, guys. They're at Washington. You think that defense ain't gonna be ready to shut down the Giants?
Yeah, that front seven with Washington is amazing. So yeah,
I've said this all along because I made a trade for him. I think it was in the trophy league, but I made a trade for him with Will. He gave me DK Metcalf, and I took Saquon Barkley. And I knew when I made the trade for him, I'm looking at the first time I'm going to start Saquon Barkley is week 3. He'll be at home against Atlanta. I got to figure out the rest. But if Saquon Barkley can get back to the Saquon Barkley form, then when we hit the tail, the back stretch of the season, when we get to the fantasy playoffs, that's when I hope he can help me out. In our Yahoo leagues, I have him in 2 leagues. I've got him in the trophy league, and then I guess I kept him in the auction league because I only had to pay like $16 for him, so I was okay with that. But on my list of running backs, when I did preseason, he was one of my guys. I said don't draft because where you have to draft him, he's going entirely too high. And so when my point is always, and I'll reiterate it, I'm not saying don't get the guy, period, on your team. I'm saying don't pay the price for that guy.
Right.
Because people are drafting these guys way too high when you can get the same. To me, it was absurd that he was going before guys like Austin Eckler, right? It in some leagues, I saw Barkley go before Nick Chubb. It's like, if you lost your brain.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb didn't have a great day yesterday, but he did have 83 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just the guy that I'm most disappointed in, but I just think it was game flow. And they were running for their life, and I don't expect a great week from this week either. Kyle Pitts. 4 catches for 31 yards, but I think they're going to work him in. I'm not as concerned about Kyle Pitts. I think his athletic ability is off the chart. If you watch any of that Falcons game, their offensive line was just putrid, and they couldn't get anything going. So that concerns me because I have Mike Davis. That does concern me. All right, let's do this real quick. We're going to do worried or whatever. So in other words, are you worried about these guys? You're like, whatever, dude, it's going to be okay. Derrick Henry, we'll start it all off. Derrick Henry, are you worried or is it whatever? 17 carries, but only 58 yards rushing.
Whatever.
Nadjay Harris, the rookie. Now this one's a little more daunting. Let me get his actual stats up because I don't have his exact number up. So let me get that up. But Nadjay Harris, you look at his stats. 16 carries for the rookie for only 45 yards. And we talked about that offense being terrible. And then everyone was like, well, yeah, but he's going to be really involved in the passing game, right? So that's what you really want. 1 catch, 4 yards.
Yeah.
Are you worried? Because if you drafted him, you probably drafted him middle of the 2nd round.
It's what I think, because I saw in some drafts him going a lot higher. I'd really be worried if I took him, and if you were somebody who took him in the 1st round, or even the top of the 2nd round, I'd say worried.
I ended up with him in 1 league, and I think it was just because I always want to make sure I have one share of some of the bigger name guys, mainly so I'm paying attention to them because of all the content we do. Ezekiel Elliott, the same thing, worried or whatever, because I've got one share of him and trying to I've got 2 shares of Nadjay Harris. I don't remember. I think one was the auction league, so I think I actually got a really good deal on him. But I drafted him in the old school league, in the one that we did up in Nashville. Which, by the way, Doug, you would have had a blast with that, and we'll definitely do that next year here in Jacksonville. I want to start doing that every year, having everyone in the room and do it old school with the stickers and stuff like that. It was so much more fun than basically what we're going to think about doing is we'll do that draft, and then we'll also do some of the online drafts together that day as well. But it was an absolute blast. You would have loved it. I mean, because we get the canvas thing out, and you get the stickers out, and once a guy pulls off the sticker, he slaps it on there. It's the equivalent of clicking. So it was really, really fun. But Zeke Elliott, worried or whatever?
I'm going to say whatever.
I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I've only got him in one league, and it was because he fell so far in that league to like 8th or 9th that I thought it was absurd that that I didn't do it. But I believe in this. I'm going to double check this roster. This is what has me concerned. No, I'm wrong. No, I'm right. I've got Zeke Elliott. Never mind. Wrong guy. I thought I had Zeke Elliott and Nadjay Harris on the same team. I got Zeke and Damian Harris. Okay. So that makes a little more sense. But I'm a little worried because he doesn't look explosive. Like, if a guy doesn't have a good game, but he still looks pretty good, it doesn't worry me. But he doesn't. I'm starting to worry that he might have quote unquote lost his fastball.
Well, you got to remember he was playing against the Tampa Bay front four that's really good. So
sure,
and they had him dialed in on Thursday. So I'm not worried yet. Now, if we were still having this conversation, let's say week 3, then yes, then I'm definitely worried. But I'm not after week 1.
Okay, so I was wrong. Nadjay Harris, I do only have one share of him, and that was in the Dynasty League on the Sleeper app that we put together when we were in Nashville. So because it was on my mind, I was like, I don't have him in any league. I better draft him, because at that point, one guy gets hurt, it wrecks like 7 of your fantasy teams. So that's one of my reasons for doing that. I'm telling you right now, I did not want to draft Zeke Elliott, even when he fell that far, but he fell that in that league. I think he fell I think I had the 8th or 9th pick. I was like, at this point, it's a little absurd for him to fall this far. So there were like quarterbacks going in front of him and whatnot. I was like, all right, man, this is a little stupid that I'm not, at this point, this team has got to, when you pick number 8 overall, and I'm trying to find the league, but anyways, when you draft 8th overall, you've got to jump on the fact that when someone left Zeke Elliott, it was that league. I had the 8th overall pick, and Zeke Elliott fell all the way down to 8. I don't even remember exactly who was the first 7 picks, but regardless, that's a little absurd, right?
Right.
And this is in a half-point PPR league, so it's not like you're getting some big advantage by going out and getting a receiver early. And then Austin Eckler came back to me at the number 12 pick. I was like, well, this is stupid for me not to pick him up. And then it came back to me around for the 3rd time, and I ended up with David Montgomery. I benched David Montgomery in all my leagues because I thought the Rams were going to just dominate the Bears, which they did. But David Montgomery got a lot of trash yards. I'm really kicking myself for benching him.
Yeah, he was about the only bright light that Chicago's offense had yesterday. So
that Nashville team, listen what I left on my bench because of matchups. Tyler Lockett just wasn't trusting it the first week. ended up putting Brandon Ayuk in there. The dude didn't score a point. Thank you very much for that junk. But anyways, Tyler Lockett, David Montgomery, and then DJ Chark and Brandon Cooks. They were all sitting on my bench. Every one of them scored over 20 points. Worried or whatever, James Robinson.
I'm worried. What I saw yesterday, I'm worried.
They're not going to be leading many games.
No.
I counted personally at least 8, and I think there were 10 to 12 drop passes in that game, and he had 2 or 3. I mean, Trevor Lawrence would have had 400 or 500 yards passing yesterday if they could have just hung on the ball.
Yeah.
Not saying that every one of his passes were perfect, but that was asinine.
That was just anemic. Anemic's a nice word for it. It was just, oh my God. I was just like,
the last one, I'll kind of put them all together. The Titans offense. So Tannehill, Julio, AJ Brown did nothing against a terrible Arizona defense. Worried or whatever?
A little bit worried. I'm a little concerned. Just a little bit, but I'm concerned.
I'm really concerned that Julio Jones only had 3 catches of 29 yards.
Yeah.
6 targets. Okay, whatever. And I didn't get a chance to watch much of the game because normally I'll go back and try to get the replay. I'm not watching that. Good Lord. What the hell am I going to watch? There was no drama in that game. But that concerns the hell out of me. And I don't have many shares of him, thankfully, because I was a little concerned with it. But AJ Brown, he didn't do much better. I mean, he did get a touchdown, but 4 catches of 49 yards. That offense did nothing. They go to Seattle this week. That's going to be another rough road trip.
Yeah.
They may not get a W till week 3 when they play the Colts. If they don't get straightened out, it might be week 4 or 5 when they finally get to play the Jets and the Jaguars. See, that's when you're going to want to get the Titan players if people are ready to sell.
Yeah.
Sell low on them. Jets, Jaguars, week 4 and 5. If you have Titan players, they're going to eat. They're going to feast those games. But man, it is a bad start. Let's go ahead and start off with a little turn back time and get the hell on out of here on a Monday morning. By far and away, the 3 best teams in all of those leagues that we're in. I'll be lucky if I win 1 championship, which I said that like 2 months ago. I'll just be happy because someone asked me, well, how many championships do you expect to win? So I don't expect to win any, but I'd be happy if I won 1.
Yeah.
Because this happens to me every year. And you can't even say, oh, it's the matchups, and you look at the matchups. No, these are guys that were pitching well up until about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and now they can't find the plate. James Caprillion, that guy is a dumpster fire right now. I had to send him out there.
Yeah.
Because he'd been a beast all year long, and now he's going there. Well, Matt, get you 3 innings of 4 earned runs. Thanks a lot, you bozo bastard. Once again, I had, double-digit starts this weekend in my starting pitchers. And if you eliminate two of the starts, I probably got about a 0. Because Irvin did well, Free did well, and I think that was about it on the weekend. I had a bunch of starts. I mean, I'm looking at my score on Saturday night. Like, how the hell am I go, oh my God. I've either got guys scoring like 1, -2, 4, -3. It was all Sean's over there with a terrible roster, just ousted me out of the playoffs. Like, oh, God. His team sucks, too. I forget who's playing him. I think it's Stevens. Stevens should mop the floor with him. Yeah. All right, time to turn back time. Here's something I don't think a lot of people knew about. On this date in 1883, the Cleveland, now they would soon become the Indians, but at that time they were the Naps, the Spiders. They had a 1-arm pitcher, Hugh Daly. He no-hits Philadelphia 1-0. The fireballing Irish right-hander Hugh Daly lost his left hand due to a gun accident earlier in his life. That sounds like us Irishman. Also on this date in 1902, Johnny Evers, acquired to play second base, who broke his ankle, joined shortstop Tinker and Chance in the Chicago infield, and that is the famed poem, tinker to ever to chance. If people aren't familiar with that, what that's about, it's a famous poem that was immortalized. Who wrote that? I don't have it in front of me. Franklin Pierce Adams. But the entire poem, it came out in the late night or the late part of the first decade of the 20th century, and it was just tinkers to evers to chance. Basically, he was talking about how terrible it was to play against the Cubs because you're going to hit into a double play. If you go back and look at the stats, tinkers and evers and chance did not turn that many more double plays than other combinations, but it was the poetic beat of their names that made it such a hit. All right, birthdays. Now I'm done boring y'all with all the useless knowledge that I have. I read an entire book on that when I was a kid. so much time wasted. All right. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
All right, let's go with the dead guy. Wow. All right. We'll go with Heisman Trophy winner Clint Frank. Won the Heisman Trophy for Yale back when Yale was allowed to win the Heisman Trophy. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, born in 1915 on this day, passed away in 1992. So there you have that, one of the very first Heisman Trophy winners. Now, folks that are still with us and kicking, how about if we go with, do you remember Ricky Weeks?
Vaguely.
He's a baseball player. What I remember him for, I don't have it in front of me who I played for, but I do remember him playing for the Brewers. He was a middle infielder. Ricky Weeks is 39 years old today. I want to say he played until about maybe a decade ago. So
yeah,
somewhere in that neighborhood. And then also happy birthday to, well, nobody's going to know who that is except for me. So we'll leave that guy alone. How about Travis Knight? Do you remember him?
Yes.
It's a very obscure basketball reference, but Travis Knight played for the Boston Celtics. He is 47 years old today. God, has it been that long since he's played? How old would he have been? He never would have made it. What is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off today is
the Raiders.
It's tonight's game. We find out if the Raiders' offensive line can it actually block for Jacobs, and is that defense if we're gonna win, that defense has got to play better than it did last year. So, go Raiders.
Baltimore is a 4-point favorite. The over-under last time I checked was 50.5 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like in that game? If you like anything,
realistically, I think the Titans, the Ravens are going to win. I say 27-20.
So you like the under on that one?
Yeah,
because I love the under on that one. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. Maybe I'm wildly off on this, but I'm looking at the fact that the Ravens don't have Dobbins or Edwards.
Yeah.
And I think the Raiders will struggle to move the ball. I don't have a strong grip on who's going to win this game. I feel like Baltimore would win, but it is in Vegas, so nothing would shock me. But I think the first 1-20 is going to win this game. I don't see this being this shooter, and it's climbed over the last 4 or 5 days. It's climbed almost 2 points. I find that very odd. It's got to be because of Monday Night Football.
Yes,
but my walk off for the day is you do have some day baseball, Yankees and Twins today at 2:00. Also, Timus and I are coming your way at the top of the hour with a lot of baseball talks. We'll get into that. And we got Monday Night Football today. You've got a lot of great baseball action this week. We will be back tomorrow with Justin. We are also going to start something tomorrow where we are going to talk about the waiver wire and who you should be picking up And the only way you can get that intel is to watch the show. We'll do that second half of tomorrow's show. So I think that's about it. We're gonna get out of here. The Braves are off. We got a 4.5 game lead. Your Reds are tied for the wild card right now?
Tied with wild card, yep.
I still think you're gonna outlast them. I just do.
I think so too.
I think the Padres stink. I think they just stink. They almost got no hit yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think they have life left in them. All the Reds have to do is put on a little winning streak, and I think they can put it away. They can win like 4 or 5 games in a row. I think it's over.
Yeah.
I'd be more concerned about the Cardinals catching me than worrying about the stupid Padres, because the Padres still haven't hit, or they're in the middle of that stretch where they're playing Dodgers, Giants.
Yeah.
They'll win like 2 of those games out of 13. It's gonna be like when the Mets did their thing. All right, brother. We'll see you next Monday. Enjoy your week, and y'all have a great rest of your Monday.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.